What is BRICS? BRICS is an acronym representing an economic bloc of five major emerging markets: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This cooperation among nations started informally in the mid-2000s and was later formalized through annual summits. Initially, the group was known as BRIC, excluding South Africa, but in 2010, South Africa joined, prompting the change to BRICS. The goal of BRICS is to establish a forum for discussion and cooperation between these nations, particularly with regards to economic growth, development, and international politics. The countries share common interests in reforming global governance structures like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund (IMF) to reflect their growing economic and political influence. How many countries are in BRICS and which are the key members? As of 2023, BRICS consists of the five founding member nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries represent some of the most populous and economically significant nations in the world, with a combined population of over 3 billion people, accounting for approximately 40% of the world's population. The BRICS members also contribute significantly to the global economy, making up around 25% of the global gross domestic product, GDP, and about 18% of world trade. Each of these countries has its unique strengths. China is a global manufacturing powerhouse. India is renowned for its tech sector. Russia is a major energy exporter. Brazil is a leading agricultural producer. And South Africa is known for its mining industry and as a major African market. Key BRICS countries: China, the largest economy in the group and a global superpower. India, a rapidly growing economy with a large population and technological advancement. Russia, an energy superpower and significant geopolitical player. Brazil, the largest economy in Latin America with vast agricultural production. South Africa, the leading economy in Africa and a key gateway to the African continent. BRICS currency and how it works. One of the most discussed aspects of BRICS is the potential for a common BRICS currency. This would be an alternative to the US dollar, which currently dominates world trade and global financial markets. Although no official BRICS currency exists today, the idea of a joint currency has been raised at several BRICS summits. The aim is to create a system where the countries can trade with each other without relying on the US dollar. How would a BRICS currency function? A common BRICS currency, which is still in the discussion phase, would likely aim to boost economic cooperation among member states and reduce their dependence on dollar transactions. One of the key motivations behind this idea is concern over the influence the US has over the global economy through the dollar. When countries trade in dollars, they are subject to US monetary policy, including inflation, interest rates, and sanctions. BRICS could theoretically create a currency tied to a basket of the member countries' national currencies, such as the Chinese yuan, Russian ruble, Brazilian real, Indian rupee, and South African rand. Another option could be a digital currency, where transactions would be easier and faster, potentially utilizing blockchain technology. China is already ahead in developing its digital yuan, which could provide a foundation for a future BRICS digital currency. How can BRICS influence America and Europe? BRICS has the potential to influence both America and Europe in several ways, especially through economic and geopolitical channels. This influence could manifest in the following ways: economic competition and new markets. BRICS countries are rapidly growing, and their economic cooperation enables them to compete more directly with traditional Western economies. With access to large markets in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, BRICS offers alternative trading partnerships that could challenge Western dominance. Reform of international institutions. BRICS has long pushed for reform of institutions like the International Monetary Fund and World Bank, which have been dominated by Western nations. If BRICS succeeds in reforming these bodies, it could reduce the influence of the US and Europe in global economic governance. Reducing dollar dominance. BRICS' intent to challenge the US dollar's role as the world's reserve currency could potentially weaken America's economic power. Currently, about 60% of all global transactions are conducted in dollars. But if BRICS countries establish a viable alternative currency or increase the use of their own currencies in international trade, this could reduce the demand for dollars. A decrease in dollar use in global trade could result in a weakening of U.S. influence. Geopolitical balance. BRICS could also act as a counterbalance to the U.S. and its European allies on international security issues. Russia and China, already major global powers, could use BRICS as a tool to promote their strategic interests at the expense of the U.S. and EU. Can BRICS impact the U.S. dollar? One of the most discussed potential effects of BRICS activities is the impact on the U.S. dollar. The dollar has been the dominant currency in the global economy since the end of World War II, and many nations hold significant reserves in dollars. Trade and investment largely depend on the dollar as a stable means of exchange. Ways BRICS could affect the dollar: increased use of national currencies. If BRICS members start trading more with each other using their own currencies and reduce their reliance on the dollar, this could lead to a decline in global demand for the U.S. dollar. However, this shift would not happen overnight. Diversification of foreign exchange reserves. Many countries, including BRICS members, hold their foreign currency reserves in dollars. If they start diversifying these reserves by increasing their holdings of other currencies, such as the yuan or euro, it could weaken the dollar's position as the world's reserve currency. Influence on commodity trade. Many of the BRICS countries are major exporters of commodities like oil, gas, metals, and agricultural products. Since commodities are currently traded predominantly in dollars, a shift toward alternative currencies such as the yuan or a future BRICS currency in commodity trade could reduce the global role of the dollar. Conclusion. The BRICS group, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represents a significant economic force with the potential to influence the global economy and geopolitical balance. While BRICS is still in the early stages of developing a common currency, discussions about reducing reliance on the U.S. dollar have garnered much attention. Such developments could eventually diminish the economic dominance of the U.S. and Europe, while creating new opportunities for international cooperation. BRICS has the potential to impact both America and Europe through economic competition, institutional reform, and the possible weakening of the dollar's dominance. This could challenge the established world order, where the U.S. has held a dominant position since the mid-20th century. Although it is unlikely that BRICS will replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency in the short term, the group's actions could affect the dollar's status in the long run. BRICS is undoubtedly a force to be reckoned with in the future, and its influence will continue to shape global events.